Hey everyone, it's Ryan Henry with INSPIREsmall.biz, and we are here with another episode of learning about the inspiring stories behind small business here in central Indiana. Today I have here with me longtime networking connection and business owner Tina Simpson, who owns Cool Interiors. Tina, how you doing today?
Good, good. Thanks for having me.
Well, you're very welcome, and thank you for making the drive up here. I know you were coming from a network meeting to get
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
so
yeah,
and we actually talked just before we went on air here. You have family that lives in this neighborhood, right?
yeah. Like 2 minutes around the corner. I have a son and grandchild around the corner.
Nice. It
Yeah,
it just goes to show you never really know how far people's reach can be
yeah,
because this is an area that you're already kind of familiar with.
yeah.
So Tina, you own Cool Interiors today. What I want to learn about first is how did your career begin? So what did you do professionally when you were just getting into the workforce?
Oh, wow. Well, I was a stay-at-home mom for years.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was in the bookkeeping department at a bank. And so while I was at home with the kids, like I really enjoyed watching HGTV. Like that was
Okay.
very popular then. There's other channels, of course, now, but um, I realized I had a love for design and decorating. And so I began professionally decorating around 2009 after helping many family members and friends with their homes. I had a friend that had become a realtor,
Okay.
and so she had me to help her stage her home. And I did home staging consultations for her after that for all of her clients.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, I got into remodeling uh, flip homes
Okay.
and investment homes, and had decided that I was going to start my own investment property and do an Airbnb.
Oh,
So
nice.
now I have two Airbnbs, and I began decorating and furnishing Airbnbs. And with the home staging, though, the I got into full home stagings, but I've recently turned back to doing consultations only because I decided I didn't want to store inventory any longer.
Fair enough.
So I help people work with the belongings they already have. So if it's an occupied home, I can help with the home staging in that regard. But, with home staging, I was doing home organization and purging anyway.
Okay.
So it's a natural transition for me to now be doing decluttering and organizing. I help people downsize, seniors downsize, people unpack after they've moved or prepare them to move. Now, I don't do packing for them, but I help them to purge and declutter, and I can help them do the organized packing, meaning that, we've already got everything in its place, in its container, and then once they get to where they're going, they can do it themselves, or they can have me come and unpack them. Most of the time, the seniors need help with doing that. So I partner with different moving companies that move seniors.
Okay, nice. So there's a lot to unpack there.
Right.
So starting your career, you worked in bookkeeping for a bank, so that meant you had an incredible knowledge of what profit versus loss looks like, things like
You
that,
would
right?
think so. No, the department really was more about monitoring different accounts, like if someone placed a stop or hold on their account, or um, they wanted us to be cautious about this account for whatever reason. There could have been fraudulent activity, and I monitored high dollar checks that came through. Anything over $25,000, I would
Oh,
like
wow.
be analyzing the signature to make sure that it
That it is
matches
business
what's
owner
the
that's
one that's on file. Yeah.
okay.
And if things look funny, I'd just call the branch manager, and we'd work through that, and they'd contact the client and just double check that, hey, did you write this $250,000 check? So
So to make sure it protected their account
yeah,
holders' funds.
yeah.
Okay, and so then let's talk a little bit about your skills as a stay-at-home mom. So I imagine that's what helped you really develop the ability to get things
Managing,
organized and
yeah.
keep it in a good place where you can find the things you need when you need them.
Yes, my kids had ample toys, and there's a constant purging with that.
Hmm.
And we had a very large home, so there was lots of bathrooms, and keeping up with supplies, and keeping the pantry organized because we had kids at our house all the time. So like, we ran out of Gatorade, or you just make your list, and when you have things displayed in a fashion, you can see what you need to replenish. So
Nice. So it was simplifying your job and the rest of the family being able to see, okay, I need this, I need this, I need this.
absolutely,
And
yeah,
that the other end of that is, Mom, where is this? And
yeah.
you say, well, it's right where it's supposed to be.
Everything needed to have its place, and kind of picked that up from my mom. She had 5 children, and so being in a 1,200 square foot home,
Oh,
we
wow.
had to stay, organized. Everything had its place.
Everything
So
had to stay neat, and otherwise, it's easy for those things to get out of control.
it is.
We're kind of fighting that out now a little bit for ourselves with a toddler at home, and
Oh yeah,
she has this habit. She'll pull a toy out. It's fabulous for like 2 or 3 minutes, so that the next toy looks more interesting. And
right.
before you know it, there's just toys everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So now let's fast forward a little bit and talk about you started doing home staging with a real estate agent that you knew. Is that kind of how things got going for you?
Yeah, yeah. She noticed that I had an eye for decor and design for my own house, and so she's like, "I need help with, professional photos before they're done on my house. Like, come and tweak to like, what do I need to move? Where should the sofa be? I'm good at helping people figure out the layout they're going to have with their furniture and their decor.
Nice. So let's talk about the importance of good home staging and photos. It could really affect the value of what a home is able to sell for, correct?
Absolutely. So if it looks like they've got plenty of split space, then it's more desirable. So I like to tell people, if you can at least clear off the floors in your closets, it looks like you have doubled the amount of space.
Nice. And so when things look more spacious, then people perceive it as it's more space for them to be able to
Yeah, they
spread
can
out their
imagine
things.
their things in there, and I've got plenty of room for everything. So, packing up seasonal clothing is helpful. Like, get your boots out there. Springtime is when most homes are going on the market. So it's time to pack up, pre-pack, 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 anything that has to do with winter or seasonal type of things. Um, if you're moving anyway, there's no reason not to pack it.
So it kind of seems like that's fitting for when we're here recording this episode, is that we're just about coming into spring. So
Right.
it's time to start thinking about putting those sweaters and those boots away.
Yeah, or if you have been meaning for 3 years now to participate in your community garage sale, neighborhood garage sales, and you're overwhelmed, you're too busy with work or kids or sports or whatever, I come in and help people declutter and get them ready for their garage sale. Now, I'm not monitoring your garage sale, but like if you need help preparing to purge all those items out of your house and try to make a buck off of it instead of just donating it. I'm happy to help people with that kind of thing too.
And that's something I've heard many times over the years, is people who have accumulated things that they don't want to hold on to now, but they want
Yeah.
to try and recover some kind of money from it. So,
Yeah.
uh, of course, you're not going to come and run a yard sale for them, but
No.
you'll help them with the decision process of figuring out what they need to keep and what should be put aside for that sale.
Absolutely. Now, I'm helping a gentleman, and him and his wife have lived in a home for about 35 years. And so they've accumulated a lot of stuff, not only their stuff, but they had parents that passed away, and then they have children that are grown and out of the house, but never really moved their things out. So we are
Ah,
going room by room determining, are these Lego collections something I want to keep around? And so they have lots of things of value.
yeah.
They have antiques from mom and dad or collections from mom and dad that they're worth money. And so they don't necessarily want to hang on to it, but it's time for them to downsize soon.
Yeah.
So now this needs to find a home. So I can help prepare for an estate sale or something like that, determine what's sellable or what items are mostly sold. And, we're purging. We're doing an amazing. It usually takes about he gets a little bit um a little bit ready to exit out of that process after about 3 or 4 hours, and then
Okay.
we'll schedule another session. So we can take this as slow as we need to, or we can do whole house.
Nice. So
Mhm.
at the client's pace, you're able to work with
Yes,
them.
yeah, yeah.
And you bring up an excellent point because when you're looking at so much stuff in your home that you might have accumulated over decades, it can get overwhelming to
And
look
it's
at.
emotional too. Like, man, I've had this for years and like they really need to think about but I help them think through that process.
Nice.
When's the last time you touched it? You know,
Fair.
like if it's not setting out and it's in a box, it's kind of like you don't have it anyway.
Fair enough. That's a good point to make.
So,
And so that's something that we're seeing a lot of seniors do today. They've lived in a house for decades. They raised their family. Their family has grown up and gone on to start their own.
mhm.
But now they want to downsize. Either they need something with fewer rooms, no stairs, maybe closer to where their family moved. So, someone who is ready to start downsizing, that's the perfect time for you and them to have a conversation.
Absolutely. And, end of life designations too. Like if we are going to hold on to these items or it's going to go to a son or a daughter or a relative or whatever, it's nice for them to get that on paper. And, we have a local notary that we use that, can sign that so that people know what the wishes are. And this is before dementia sets in. And, so we've got a good solid list of things for their family to know, what to do with.
So it's kind of a nice companion to like a will. The will talks about what's going to happen with that person's accounts and other assets. You're talking about being able to document the things in their home that one child wants or a grandchild wants or
Or that
things
they
like that.
want to go to specific now, sometimes, you don't want family members involved necessarily to start with because, that can cause squabbles.
Yes.
So, like, if this parent knows that I know that this child really likes art and I want all of my art pieces to go to this one or, a certain piece to go to this one.
So then that way, when unfortunately that day does come, the family has the peace of mind of knowing they were, this is what's going to happen with all of that person.
Yeah, it's overwhelming, when someone passed away in your family, you're dealing with grief.
Yeah.
On top of having to deal with going through stuff that your parents didn't go through, so, like, encourage your elderly parents to take these steps now while they're, clearing their head and can help make those decisions, so and if you need, someone to come in professionally help that process, to be a neutral party, if you will, that's where I can come in and do those types of things. So all things home. I'm like all about decorating, organizing, anything that has to do with the house I can help you with.
Nice. And so what before we move on, one more thing about the, downsizing is you don't even have to be a senior to do it. Maybe you've just accumulated too much stuff, and now your
Exactly.
home feels like a storage unit rather than the house that
That's
you
right.
fell in love with when you bought it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you could just be a busy family where your kids are into so many different sports and you're running a company of your own. And, things get out of hand real quick, like you just said with your child's toys,
Yep.
So every once in a while, it's okay to ask for help. Like, you're not going to always be on top of things. But if it's out of control and like when your house is cluttered and messy, so's your mind. So
Right.
reach out for help.
So then let's talk about some like general good idea rules. So let's say somebody's watching this and they say, "Oh my home is just totally cluttered. I've got too much stuff." What's the first thing that they can do to move themselves in that right direction?
Okay, well, I always keep a box, um, either just inside the garage, like outside the door and into the garage,
Mhm.
or if you have a spare room, um, and you know that that's something you're not going to hang on to. It doesn't fit. It's itchy. The tag is pokey. This is the wrong color, or I got it on clearance. I have yet to wear it. Thinking I got a good deal on it. I can't pass this up. Or you realize you buy something and you've got 20 of it, and so place it in the box. Keep yourself a donation box at all times. I used to keep a box in my house, that I would call the, OPC box,
What's
other
that stand for?
other people's crap. So, you put stuff in the house, you place it in the box, you wanna get it back to them either the next time you see them or, you need to take a day and start dropping off,
Okay.
so,
Right, please get
uh,
your stuff out of my
so
home.
I got enough of my own. Um,
All right, Tina. So let's say someone's decided that they're going to declutter and maybe get the process started on their own.
Yeah.
What is something that they really need to know to get themselves going?
Okay. You're going to get yourself 3 containers. First, you need a table so that you can sort.
Okay.
Okay. Set up a table so you can sort. You're going to have a keep box, donate, sell box, uh, trash, and expired things. So if you get a bag full of trash, get rid of it. Like immediately take it out to the garbage can, dumpster, or whatever. Donate stuff. Don't let that stuff sit around. You're going to find reasons. Well, maybe I do need that. You're going to start picking through it, or somebody else's that walks through the house. So fill yourself up a donate bag and immediately take it. So like discard it, and then you've got all this room you're making yourself. And you're going to get motivated by doing that
That's true.
to
Yeah.
get to the next place. So sometimes people just want company while they're doing that. And I'm there to they know I'm coming. It's accountability. And even though they're the ones making the decision, um, as I'm helping them unpack a box or pull things out, they see things that they haven't seen for a long time. And ultimately they could be making the decision. They might leave it up to me, but ultimately, they are being forced to go through their things. Otherwise, they'll find reasons. We all do that,
Right. The
you know?
TV's got something good
Yeah.
on, or
You're going to be interrupted. And, when you're paying somebody to help you, you're motivated then
yeah,
to make the most of the time.
very true.
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's switch on to the next part here. So we talked about staging a home to make sure that it looks its best. We talked about decluttering and downsizing. Let's talk about decorating, the
Okay.
third area that you really have an expertise in. So, why is it so important to a person to have a professional set of eyes like yours in helping to decorate their home?
Usually navigating through the home, you want to be surrounded by a few beautiful things, but not surrounded by too many. So sometimes people will go out and buy something. They're like, I don't even know how to put this together. I know I really like it, but it doesn't look finished in this room. So, or maybe there's not a good flow because, um, this color's in this room and just your house looks choppy. So we want to take an element from this space and bring that same kind of balance to the next room. So you
Okay.
have a cohesive flow. Another thing people have problems with, I was at a client's house yesterday and they wanted to buy new furniture, but they were like, do we get an L-shaped sofa? Do we get a sofa? We don't even know what to do. So they had a grand piano in there. They had a huge fireplace that was, 2 stories high.
Oh, wow.
They needed to access the dining room outdoors and, they had a walkway. They also had another challenge, and that was a wood floor with a carpet inlay in the very center of the room.
Oh, wow.
So we had all these dynamics. And so after doing some measurements and trying to figure out, being centered on the fireplace and how much space we had over here, they had moved a bookshelf out. We rearranged a couple of chairs, and we determined this is how long of a sofa that you can have. The
Okay.
L shape was not going to make sense because they're going to house 25 people in there a few times a month for a small group that they host.
Okay.
And so we needed to not close off the room where you can only access the seating arrangement from one area. We needed to be able to come at it from several different angles so people can comfortably, get up and excuse themselves to go to the kitchen or the bathroom or whatever. And so we came up with a good plan on that.
Nice. So it kind of sounds like transforming it from comfortable family lounging space to something that's worthwhile of entertaining a large
Yeah,
group
and
of
a
people.
usable space. Yeah.
Nice. And so to the other point, someone doesn't necessarily have to have a huge house to be able to have it decorated properly, right?
Oh, no, not at all. No.
Uh, so let's talk about the
Or even
difference.
organized. You can have a
There you
small
go.
closet, but you can maximize the space in that closet by utilizing floor to ceiling, utilize the vertical space. And those older homes, they've got one shelf and one little rack, and people are trying to figure out, I can't fit anything into this closet. Well, yeah, you can if you have the right system in it. And in the newer homes, you got contractor grade wire shelving
Mhm. You can pick
at
them up at any hardware
3/4 of the
store.
height of the room. You know, there's so much wasted space in a lot of these. You've got the square footage, but you need to get systems in there that work for you. Let's just say you're a person that likes a lot of shoes and you've got this wire shelf and a hanging rack. Well, there's better ways to utilize that space. You got collectibles that you'd like to keep. I have one family that collects wrestling belts.
Ah, title belts.
Yeah, yeah. So that's interesting. And yeah, I run into a lot of neat things.
You just never know what you're going to find each time you meet a new
Yeah,
client.
yeah, it's kind of exciting. I like that my job is different every day and that I do all these different things. Some people, are like, well, why don't you just focus on one thing? I could do that and I can do that, but I enjoy all of it. So why not?
Fair enough. And there's an opportunity for you to be able to provide each one of your areas of expertise to your clients.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about the journey of getting your business going. So it sounds like you had a real estate agent friend who kind of brought your expertise in, and you found that it was something that you were good at and enjoyed doing.
Hmm.
So at what point did you decide for yourself, hey, this is a business that I can make happen?
Well, that took a little bit of nudging. I was going through a very difficult time in my life, and I had to decide what am I going to do now? Like children are in school, and I'm single. And how is it that I'm going to spend my time? What areas am I going to grow? And that was just a natural fit for me to want to do those kinds of things.
Nice.
Um, did I answer your question? Okay.
Absolutely. So now let me ask you another question. Along the way of getting your business going, what was something that was a total difficulty that you never would have expected from the start?
Um, that was like I wish I would have taken a business course about how to run a business.
Okay.
And I wish someone would have told me earlier on. I wish I would have learned earlier on to be involved in um, networking groups and also utilizing marketing tools. Like
Okay.
I thought, oh, word of mouth, was going just fine until it wasn't.
Right.
So, being in front of people because I forget even like who do I know that's a realtor? Like I know a ton of realtors,
Yes.
but then I'm like, okay, this one's on this side of town. So if someone asks me or if I notice that this person's wanting to put their house up for sale, then I'm going to recommend someone in that local area.
Yeah.
And sometimes you forget what people do. You're like, oh gosh, I think I know somebody that does concrete. Like let me think about that. And I'll go through my phone and like type in concrete because I label people as I get to know
Nice. Keep
them.
the phone organized too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, concrete. All these people pull up, painter, or that type of things.
You bring up an excellent point, though, about the importance of building a vast network when you're getting going, because you have things like referral partners that when you have that conversation on any given day and they say, Tina, this is what I need. And you could just pull your phone out and say, I got you. I got
Yeah,
someone you should talk
yes,
to.
absolutely. And as you get to know people in your different groups, um, uh, they're doing jobs for you and other people in the groups, and you know what kind of quality that they have. So
Yeah, the trust is already
the
there.
trust is there. That's right. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so, Tina, I know you said taking a business course would have been something that's immensely helpful for you, but
Yeah.
let's say today you're talking to someone who's just getting their business off the ground or wants to, but hasn't taken that first step yet. One piece of advice that you would like to offer that person.
Just getting off the ground. I didn't realize, because I'm a trusting person, I never put in contracts in place. I've
Mhm.
only recently decided I need to probably come up with something, and because when you start working with people and, everybody's got a story and,
Yep.
nobody wants to spend more than they have to. None of us do.
Right.
But that needs to be established up front. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Something to protect your expertise, your time, and your income. Uh,
Like, it is valuable and, I'm trying to make a living just like everybody else. So, those things do need to be put in place. And then, I'm tired of learning the hard way. Well-meaning friends and family or whatever, want to solicit advice and I know that they'd be happy to pay, but you get in this, you put yourself in a position sometimes where you're like, man, I don't know about charging for that. It only it took me an hour or two or whatever to help him decide. But that's an hour or two of,
Your time.
day and, texting and advice and stuff. So you gotta put some value on that.
Fair enough. That's true. The electric company won't take a story as payment. They want money.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I got a good tax guy in place and, people in your networking group, like just telling about your day and, how things are going. People give great advice, and that's another reason you need to be involved in networking.
I'm glad you brought up your tax guy because he's actually going to be next week's episode. So we'll have him in
So,
here.
yeah.
Now, Tina, let's talk about the most important part of this show today.
Okay.
If someone needs help staging, downsizing, or purging, or decorating, how do they get a hold of you?
Oh, well, you can email me. But if you want a quicker reply, I really like people to text me.
Okay.
Text me what it is that you want. And what's open on your calendar because then I can immediately see what I have available and say this time works. So, like I said, you can email me or you can text me. I do have a Facebook page if you want to check out some of my work in one of those Google pages too.
So please give everyone your phone number and your email address that you want to contact you.
Yep, my phone number is 317-223-3042, and my email is coolinteriors LLC@gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, Tina, last question I have here
Yep.
for you today before we wrap up this episode. What is your goal for your business in 2025?
We're gonna pause right here, right?
I mean, we'll make it go as long as we need.
My goal in 2025.
Yeah, if you had to pick one thing that you know you're going to accomplish this year, what is it?
I want to help more people have peace in their home.
Okay.
I would like to see that number double. Getting people decluttered and organized is part of my business that I'd really like to go and grow. Because I see how it changes people's lives.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's a good goal to have.
Yeah.
So for everyone, if you're looking for peace in your home, make sure to call Tina Simpson here with Cool Interiors. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Share it with someone that you know is either interested in how Tina can help them or for someone who's interested in getting their own business set up. And subscribe so you stay up to date on latest videos from INSPIREsmall.biz. So thank you for joining us this week. Tina, thank you very much for being today's guest,
Thank you.
and we'll see everybody next time.